Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA plus exclusive experiences, discounts, and tickets. Already a AAA member? Upgrade for free at AAA.com/commanders. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Getting ready for our first big trip of the season out to LA. Can't wait. Can't wait. We'll see.
West Coast trip. There should be a lot of Commanders fans there for that one, I feel like.
I think a ton. Yeah, I think a ton. SoFi is notoriously easy to get into. Like here, there's a tremendous amount of transplants out there. So I do expect a ton of our fans at that game. I found here's a good one for you. So I got the weekly releases from the game. There typically is a national radio call of some sort of all the games. Last week, Steve Levy was actually calling our game with Atlanta, but this week it's from Sports USA Radio. And I thought you would enjoy this most. You know who the team is calling the game?
The team? I don't know the radio, like the
right.
National radio crew.
Well, I'm just like, you know where I'm going with this. It's going to be someone you're gonna be like, oh, this is great to hear this. You want to guess who the color analyst is for our game this weekend?
I'm trying to think who's still in the business and who you're trying to like zing me over.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be somebody like Schlereth. He's on TV. We like him.
Nope.
The way you're grinning right now, it's like
I'll give you a hint. Would you like a hint?
No. West Coast.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're onto it. Uh-huh.
It's not Ron, is it?
Yes, guys. Ron's calling our game this weekend. Guys.
Yes.
Guys.
Wait, doesn't he have UCLA duties? Isn't he, GM?
He's GM at Cal.
Sorry, Cal,
Yeah.
not UCLA. Doesn't he have those duties? He can still do that? Like,
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, he and Larry Kahn are calling the game for Sports USA Radio. I flagged this to CJ immediately. I'm like, we gotta get him on the pregame show. Find out where he is. We gotta get him on. So Ron, if that's we want you to listen to us, me, London, Logan. But if you just want to check in to see what Ron thinks about what's going on, you get your opportunity this week. He's calling the game. So
as you know, if the Bears are on, I like to hate watch the Bears. The Jaguars, I like to hate watch the Jags sometimes. I've never hate listened before, but I kind of want to hate listen to Ron just to see what he has to say about things.
Look, I did Ben Standing had Jay on his podcast yesterday. Jay Gruden was on the Last Man Standing podcast. He's on all the time on all the different shows here. When that first started happening, I was surprised. I was like, he's a very good guest. I will say that. He's very, very good at being a guest. But initially I was kind of like, it was one of those where I'm like, we didn't win very much. Why are we asking him to weigh in all the time on all of this? But he is a good guest. So maybe the Ron stuff will start coming around. If he's going to do more media, you might start hearing him talking about the team more often. So we'll see.
I'm almost now waiting because, as you know, I do a lot of programming for our station at ESPN 630. I'm almost waiting for the email of do you want Ron Rivera to preview the game this weekend? And I don't think I could do it. I've said too many things about him that I cannot save face if I want him to be a proper guest on my show. So
I am very excited to see him because I haven't seen him since he left. And, I just obviously spent a lot of time with him. So I was really pleasantly surprised to see that. So I'm really excited to see him. But I just thought it was funny. I'm like, you want to hear what he has to say about us? You have your chance if you can find this radio call somewhere this weekend. So
I do wonder what you have to say about Benjamin St-Juste on the Chargers. Let's see what we got going on there. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Number 24, if you're curious, number 24 for the Chargers is Benjamin St-Juste. All right. Let's do AAA review this week, which is Commanders fans. This is for you. Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, like 24/7 roadside assistance, plus 15% off Commanders gear at the online pro shop, chances to win game tickets, access to exclusive MVP events, and unforgettable experiences. And if you're already a AAA member, you can add the Commanders MVP upgrade for free. Head to AAA.com/Commanders to join the squad and put your fandom in drive. The review this week is I am going to go back and talk more about the Atlanta game from the other day. I did my review of it. I say this a lot, and I never always think it's as good as you felt, and it's never as bad. In this case, defensively, I would say it's not as bad as I thought it was, but it's still pretty bad. And I like for a lot of various reasons. But here's where I kind of landed after watching the whole thing. Instead of just going kind of like through each thing, I had really one big question after reviewing it again and taking a look at all of it. And the answer for this is I'd have to ask the coaches, like what was strategically, what were they thinking here? Because I can only come down to one of a couple or a combination of both conclusions to what I saw. They rushed 4 a lot against Atlanta this weekend, and they did not ramp up pressure very much. And they did it, but not often. And it wasn't a heavily used part of the game plan. So I have kind of 2 questions off of this because the pressure did not get to Penix. They did not move him very much. He ended up having the best game of his career. And then, add in Bijan, had an enormous day, and it all just went downhill on them, and it was a really, really tough outcome. So I have a question here for them, and this is really where I kind of landed on the whole thing, which is, 1, did you think you were going to win with 4? And I'm not trying to put that with tone. I'm asking. Did you think you would win with 4 more often? Is that why you did that? Or did you think that you would just leave people back because you would disguise coverages enough because Penix wasn't seeing it very well coming into the game? And so why give him like better, more one-on-one reads, maybe try to trick him and induce him into throwing into spots, but neither one of those things actually happened. So it could be, we thought we were going to win with 4 anyway, didn't happen, okay? We thought we would disguise differently by not bringing more heat, didn't work out because Penix figured it out, had a big day. He also was rarely under pressure and was rarely moved off his spot. Or C, it's a combination of those 2 things. And that's my big question here, because I know people like want to point out, oh, Lattimore had this rough game. Oh, Bobby had this rough game, or this, that, or the other thing. I actually more after rewatching just kind of feel like I wonder, like, what were they considering going in, and just were they just beaten? And did their plan just not go to plan? And that's kind of how I landed on it after watching it, because once we got it's easy to do this in hindsight when you're rewatching. I'm like, they need to start blitzing this guy. Like you feel it. You're like, you need to start bringing heat. Take your chances. But maybe they were concerned with more big plays because they didn't like the matchups. Like, I don't really know here. These are just the questions I had after rewatching it.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Luvu finally got his first sack, so I kind of thought at some point they were going to be sending them a little bit more as well, because we've been talking about, too, how, Luvu needs to be unlocked a little bit this year. He's not the same player that he was last year, and granted, we've talked about how they've got time to, kind of turn things around, essentially, with this defense, but I'm with you. It just felt like in the second half, they really were just like, okay, this is how we're living, and there weren't really any adjustments, which is weird for this group, because we've talked about how they've been pretty good at adjustments, both offensively and defensively. And I just kind of felt like, oh, wow, they look like the same in the second half. Granted, they still just needed one more stop to, possibly tie or win the game. And, that they didn't get that eventually. But I'm kind of with you. I didn't really understand why the look didn't change at all. And maybe that's just because they're dealing with the hand that they've been dealt.
And there's another part of this that has been a recurring theme, but I want to say this up front, because people were coming after Wagner a lot, and I'm like, okay, I want to slow down for 1 second. Bijan Robinson, if he's not the best, most dangerous running back in the NFL, he's in the conversation about it. I believe that he very well could end up with the most yards from scrimmage of any offensive player this year. That's very possible for him. He is unstoppable. All you hope for is you slow him down, right? He's unstoppable, right? I was saying last week, if you could hold him around 80 yards, that would be unbelievable. Realistically, he's going to end up with 2,000 yards of offense this year. He's so he's a terrible matchup for literally everybody. And I'll take the example of the big swing pass, that they hit. And here's what I want to say about that, especially in rewatching it. Why I wish it didn't happen, but I don't actually have a problem with it. they schemed it up really well. They got a matchup they wanted. They had Wagner run through traffic. Okay.
Yep.
It's already a bad matchup. You know, it's a bad matchup for any middle line. Pick any linebacker. It's a bad matchup. They got him running through traffic, slowed him down enough, and the pass was perfect. Perfect execution, hit in stride. He's gone. Reeves made this great play. My bigger issue is what I said the other day. My bigger issue is not that happened, and not that I'm mad at Bobby Wagner for it. What I am disappointed about was the next play was a touchdown. Instead of rewarding Reeves for sprinting 50 yards to stop, which should have easily been a touchdown, the team gave it up on the next play. I am less upset about the however many yards that thing was, because you know what? Sometimes elite players are put in a position to make an elite play, and they do. That pass was perfect. It was schemed up perfectly. I want to tip my cap to them. I'm not mad at Bobby Wagner about it. He got put in a tough position that almost nobody is going to be able to make if they're going to execute like that. I don't have a problem with it. I didn't like the next play, that they didn't stand up on the goal line and stop them. It was a walk-in touchdown, and it leads me to that was the Pitts touchdown, right? I'm not sure. Again, this goes back to this big question of why did they play the way? Why did they decide this is how they were going to attack this offense? And maybe one of the answers is they were concerned if they brought a lot of heat, and it would have been obvious that they're going to have a problem one-on-one covering Bijan out of the backfield, Pitts in the flat. This has been a recurrent, and this is something everybody's going to have to deal with them, which is kind of one of the points I want to get to here. That's why I wanted to make a point about Bijan. He's a problem for literally everybody. This is not us. He's a problem for literally everybody. So did some of this, we're going to rush with 4. 1, we could win with it. 2, we might be able to disguise. 3, if we blitz these guys too much and they hit one of these two guys in what is a bad coverage matchup for us, it's boom, explosive play. That ended up happening anyway, right? That ended up happening anyway, but I'm just trying to think through what were they thinking when they went into all of this, and how are they going to try to handle it? And it does also suggest to me that they recognize that it's going to be a coverage mismatch when they get really good high-end pass-catching running backs, which Bijan is, let alone a really good straight, forward running back. And we've seen this over the last year and a half now. They don't have the answer to covering really good, highly athletic tight ends. The good news this week is the Chargers don't have a Kyle Pitts or a Tucker Kraft. And as far as we can tell to this point, Omarion Hampton is not Bijan, where he's coming out of the backfield a lot. Although I will say this, his target share has gone up the last couple of weeks. So after watching what we saw here, I wouldn't be surprised if Hampton is used in the passing game a little bit more because of what happened a week ago. So I'm landing on a couple of different places. Atlanta has elite talent. Why their offense was struggling the way it was, only they can really answer that. It opened up against this team, and I would just argue that it was going to open up against somebody, and it was bound to happen, and Penix couldn't be this inaccurate the whole year. And once he got some of his vision back and accuracy back, good luck covering that group. Good luck stopping big plays. The thing that got me about them going in that really was I can't believe this. They had the second most on first down plays of 4+ yards, which means they were consistently in second and manageable. And yet they were the worst scoring team in the NFL. So they were their own worst enemy. You're in 2nd and 6 every single start of a drive or every single set of downs. You should be walking down the field. The playbook's open to you. And when you have elite talent like this, Bijan and Pitts specifically, and London's very good, you should be able to manage whatever you want to move the ball down the field. They weren't doing that. So what did Washington see? Did they see, let's drop in coverage and see if we can disguise him into making the mistakes he's been making, as opposed to blitzing, forcing him to make a quick read and, oh crap, who's got Bijan or Pitts? But it seemed that maybe they were in a catch-22. If they blitz too much, they get caught, they give up big plays. They didn't. Penix wasn't disguised. It's still mismatches, specifically with players like this. So that's where I landed on all of it.
I just wish at the end of the day they would have started blitzing a little bit more because you were giving up the big plays.
Because it wasn't working. I agree.
Right.
Yes.
And like I said to you, who did you try to stop? Because they all had big games. Pitts had a big game. London had a big game. Bijan had a big game. So
yes.
You didn't stop literally anybody on that offense. That's where I was landing in the second half. Like, just start sending the house at Penix, because we've seen that when quarterbacks are rushed, this cornerback room does do okay when at least they don't have all the time in the world, to pick them apart, essentially. So that's where I was landing in the second half last week, and I just didn't understand why they didn't change it up. Like I said, they're usually very good at these second half adjustments. I didn't see it this week, though.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, too, just about kind of like, the whole when you play a team type thing, to be fair, we always say this, you hate when you play a team when they have a really crappy outing. And they did against the Panthers, which means right away, they're coming to work way more buttoned up than they ever were before. The Atlanta sports radio people were saying end the season if they lose this game. Sometimes it is an attitude thing, too, where a team is much more desperate, and that also seemed to be the case on Sunday. Granted, you also still only lost by 7 points at the end of the day.
That's right. Like, so to me, when rewatching, it felt like, did they feel like they were in a catch-22 here? That if we blitz a lot and Penix catches us, we're going to give up big yardage because it's elite talent that's making the plays. So, but the ultimate question that I want to know, or I would want to know, and it's all spilled milk now, we can just move forward, is did you only rush for mainly because you thought you could win that way, which is fine if you thought you could, or did you do it because you thought disguising on the back end was the best route to fooling him and getting him to be indecisive as he was the last couple of weeks? Neither one of those things occurred, which does scream, okay, we got to try something a little different, but they didn't really do that. And so this is one of those, like when they always say like burn the film, this is one of them to me. Like, I know people go after the player, they went after everybody here, but like in this case, I do like just want to point out, like I look at that team and I think this is why people think they're a playoff team or could win their division. Those are elite playmaking players they have on that team. The fact that their offense was scoring and moving the ball at such a low rate up to this point is actually a question for them to answer because they have no excuses. They have a Pro Bowl right guard. They have an all-pro left tackle who's been around forever. The quarterback, I think, is very accurate. He's had a rough couple of weeks, but I think he is. The tight end is uncoverable if you unlock him. The running back's the best one in the NFL going right now. And Drake London as a number one is very good. They should be a nightmare. They were for Washington. They should be every week a nightmare. If they ended up top 10 to top 5 in offense, how would that surprise anybody with the talent that they ultimately have? So that's why I'm kind of like, for all these reasons, I rewatched and I went, my bigger question for us is just explain to me how we were strategically thinking about trying to stop them, because it just didn't work. And it's not like I'm angry about it. It's just like, it just didn't work. So I just want to hear, like, what were you guys thinking about this? Because I just kept seeing 4-4-4. They're not winning. Penix is standing back there. Now you're in bad matchups. You already knew this was bad matchups. It's something to think about down the road. Like, can they find somebody that can be, a better cover of tight ends, for them? Is that eventually Tyler Owens? I think when I look at someone like Bijan, I look at him and I go, he's special. So I'm not going to, there's no reason to get mad. Like, his numbers were too high, like you can't give up 180, but giving up under 100 yards to him a game is going to be very hard for anybody to do. He's going to have 2,000 yards from scrimmage, which means he's going to average over 100 yards a game against everybody. So I don't want to say it wasn't as bad as I thought. It just it landed less on, because everybody was going after specific things. It more just landed on, for me, how did you think you were going to try to stop them, with the understanding that I get that the talent they have is going to make that almost an impossible catch-22?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I also think at the same time, they're going, all right, our cornerback room is healthy. We are putting out Lattimore, Amos, and Mikey Sanders still out there. So let's see what they have against these guys. And clearly it just didn't work again with that room as well. And so there's not some magic fix with Lattimore, by the way. Like you're kind of stuck with him. There's no veteran in the wings right now, especially with Jones being hurt. Right. So I think the other part of this too is maybe this coaching staff was going, let's see what we can do with rushing 4, and we're gonna have to lean on them to help and get some stops, and that just didn't work out as well. Like it was not just one part that wasn't working; it was both parts that weren't working, and that's where basically all these guys have a really good day.
It looks bad because they were awful against the Panthers, Atlanta, and it looks bad because they'd scored 1 touchdown in 2 weeks. But if I tell you that when we're talking about this in January, that's a top 10 to top 5 offense, I don't think you're going to ultimately be surprised over a course of a season because of who they have on it. So anyway, like that's that. Let's move on. It's time to get to the Chargers, which I will tomorrow. But one other thing is what I want to do in a moment with you is we've played 4 games. We're at the quarter pole of the season, basically. What do we know about everybody? We'll do that in a minute. But the other big story to me is Lamar. Likely out a few weeks with a hamstring injury. Baltimore is 1-3. Baltimore's schedule is really not pretty over the next 4, although the next 3 are all at home. However, Houston, this reads like the final score is going to be 7-6 now because without Lamar, but still, if Houston had any offense whatsoever to like really lean on, they're catching the break of all breaks that they're playing in Baltimore without Lamar. Then the Rams come. It's a cross country, but without Lamar, that's a problem. Then the Bears come, which would be, I don't trust the Bears. I trust the Ravens, except Lamar may not be playing. And then they're at Miami, but that's a Thursday night game. So if he's going to be missing 3 weeks, then realistically, it's easy to believe he's actually missing 4 before they actually get him back. If they can get him back by Chicago, then that's fine. But if they don't have him back by Chicago, it's a short week into Miami, which I don't know what their record's going to be, but still, that's not great. So this next month, Cooper Rush is going to determine for them whether they have any shot to be a contender. And trust me, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Chargers, the Jacksonville, Indy, whoever it is, they are all praying that these guys get buried in a way that they don't even make the playoffs. And that's very possible that could happen over the next month.
You just said you don't trust the Bears, but I kind of trust the Bears offense against the Ravens defense at this moment in time. That Ravens defense is not good at the moment either. Like that's where I think this could get real ugly is the Ravens offense has been able to cover for them a little bit until last week where the Chiefs really just kind of blew the brakes off of them. That's where I'm concerned with the Ravens is their defense hasn't stepped up here. And I'm with you. Lamar being out for at least 3, maybe 4 weeks, they could get buried in a way that I don't know if they can come back. I will say, will the Steelers pull away? That's a good question because that's the only team that they have to worry about. Like they're funny. That division is not what we thought it was going to be in preseason now. So 2 of the teams are dead in the water. The Steelers always go around 500. So if they don't pull away, like it's not over for them, but they have to clean up a bunch of stuff that isn't Lamar anyways. So yeah, it's crazy for him.
So here's what it looks like for them if they can get through this month without being, say, 2-6, which is very possible. Like that's what they could be. Like whether let's just say he doesn't make it back for that Dolphins game because it's a Thursday night game. Let's say he gets back for the game after that. At Vikings, and it's tough, but then it goes this. At Browns, Jets home, Bengals home, Steelers home, at Bengals, Patriots home. If they can get through this next month, just 2-2. Somehow get 2-2 because 3 of them are home games. So just get 2-2. If they pull that off and he comes back healthy, the schedule actually opens up for them to make a run. But of course, as you know, they'll be in a hole, which means there's no room for error. But that's the only path to me. If they go 1-3 or worse somehow over the next month, Lamar or no Lamar, they're not going to get out of it to make the playoffs. Like they're going to get too far behind everybody else. And teams like the Patriots, Chargers, Denver, Indy, that like people before the season were like, maybe they're a wild card, maybe they're not. The door's too wide open for them at that point.
Can you pull up the Steelers schedule real quick? Because I think what's going to happen here is I think the Steelers are going to be the ones that determine this. Like, do we even know if they're going to pull away? I don't know. I know Rodgers looks like he's settling now, but I will say it's not like they have the Bills in their division or something that are going to go crazy record wise. So if they can at least keep the ship afloat and then the Steelers don't pull away, I don't know. I see them still as a division threat at the very bare minimum.
You just did unwittingly a tease. We're going to do that next as we do What Do We Know a month in. Bram watch the show. ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. All right, welcome back. We are at the quarter poll. What do we know at this point? We talk about this a lot every year. The first month is always unusual. Some teams are better. Washington, Minnesota last year were better than people thought. This year it's Indy, 3-1. Jacksonville, 3-1. There are others, that you go, I don't know. Then there's are the Bears good or not? Not sure yet. Are the Packers good or not? Thought they were, not sure right now. Things change a lot for a lot of these teams. Or, yep, we thought the Saints would stink. And that's where we are. And so we get some of that stuff. I want to go back to where we left off. Let's go through the divisions. What do we know? And I agree with you because of the Lamar injury, because of the Burrow injury, because Cleveland already changed their quarterback. Like predictable, like of all predictions, I went, they're playing all three of these quarterbacks this year. Don't even worry about it. They're all going to play. So here we are, week 5. Dylan Gabriel's going to get the start for Cleveland this week. Shedeur will get his shot. That will happen at some point this year. The AFC North, Rodgers, Tomlin, and the Steelers, if they don't win the division amid what's going on, a very slow start for Baltimore. Lamar's now out for an uncertain amount of time. Burrow's done for the season. They look totally checked out, the Bengals at this point. It's early, but they look checked out if you watch them the other night. If the Steelers don't win this division, Tomlin's going to really be in trouble.
I think this is the final kind of straw. If they don't win this division, he will get fired. This is the opportunity of all opportunities to get your team with a home playoff game, right? I mean, they haven't, won in the playoffs in a long, long time. And it's staring at you in the face that the two other quarterbacks that are a threat to you in that division are both down for a period of time. I'm with you. If they can't get it done now, it is time for them to move on as well.
They have not played Cleveland or Cincinnati yet. Both teams we do not believe. And they're coming off a bye to play Cleveland the first time. And it'll be Dylan Gabriel's, I think, second start when they play them. Then they'll have Cincinnati. Then they get Green Bay and Indy, but they're both at home, right? Like the road games, they do have it at Baltimore. They don't play Baltimore for the first time till December. I hate when they do this. They did this with us in Philadelphia this year. And they do have a late season at Detroit game. But still, it does feel like at this juncture, they could win 10 and probably win that division, because I don't think any of the other three teams, unless Baltimore somehow with Cooper Rush gets through like 3-1 through this next month, I got a hard time buying that they're going to get to 10. And we really actually don't know how long Lamar's actually going to be out. They already lost their best interior defensive lineman. Like there really is, short of injuries to Pittsburgh, no excuse for them this year at this point. Let's see. AFC East. This is as I thought it would be. The Bills are running away with it. The Jets they're done. They're not going to, what are they going to win? 4 or 5 games? Like that's where they're going to end up. The Dolphins, similar. They might 5-6 games, something like that. That's where they're going to end up. And the Patriots had this opportunity to potentially be a second place team. Maybe they're kind of, after the first month, they've had their Vrabel preseason, if you will. Maybe turns the corner a little bit. And like I said from the summer, if they ended up as a wild card team, that actually wouldn't surprise me at all. They're probably a better coach team. Mays in year 2. They upgraded the talent. The division isn't very strong. This is exactly what I thought we would get.
No, this is chalk down the line here with the Patriots too. You thought it was going to take some time for them to get it going. They just dropped 40 points on the Panthers. They're getting it going now here, but nobody's catching the Bills in that division, especially with the Bills. They do what I called the Chiefs doing last year. They played with their food this past weekend in the Saints and still, had a very easy victory in the fourth quarter. So this one's about as chalk as it gets.
Let's see. AFC South. I think we're in pick your flavor. Do you like Jacksonville or Indy at this point? I actually think the Robert Saleh going after Liam Cohen thing actually validates him a little bit, because I don't know if you saw the apology that he gave to him, but the apology basically was because he said something leading into the game that they legally steal signs. And he said then after the game, I didn't mean it the way that came out. It was the wrong choice of words. He was like, I'm trying to compliment them for figuring out ways to prepare to play us, and it's successful. So you tried to walk it back. And I thought he was sincere, actually. And he tried to walk it back, but it actually validates Cohen as a very good offensive mind. He's basically validating them. I will say this about both of them. Here are the things that aren't going to continue for both of these teams. Jacksonville has 13 takeaways in 4 games. That is not going to continue. So they are 3-1, partially because I don't want to take anything away from them, but that's an absurd number. Okay. They're not going to have 60 takeaways. Like, that's not going to happen. Okay. So that's not going to be the case. And with Indy, I will believe it when I see it that Jones has a full 17 game, doesn't have a bunch of turnovers, or doesn't have a couple of like really bad incomplete, like completion percentage games. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. So I think both of those things come back to earth. But because Houston's offense is so woeful at times, I do believe that one of these two teams will actually win it. But at this point, I don't know enough to know which one I would pick.
I will trust Indy more than I trust Jacksonville, just because I think
you hate them.
I mean, this is hate aside. I trust Indy's offense more than I trust Jacksonville's offense.
So I'm totally the other side. I actually trust Trevor, having been around long enough. I actually think it's going to be Jacksonville's going to slip. That's my gut says Jacksonville slips in as the division winner.
I've not seen Trevor Lawrence raise his game. I have seen Daniel Jones raise his. So will he be able to keep it there? I think is a legitimate question here. I trust their offense a little bit more. And if you actually, there's one thing that's happening with the Jags every single week, and it's starting to, like, I don't know if it's like dramatic or whatever. Every single week, there are questions on Travis Hunter. Every single week. Because last week he was benched in the second half on defense, even though they won. But this was the mistake in picking him. They gave up all those picks to grab him, and all of a sudden they can't use him, and now it's becoming a question every single week of how you utilize him. That's just something worth paying attention to, because he clearly was never going to play 100% of the snaps, right?
No.
But now it's becoming very apparent that he's almost a liability on defense at this point.
I said this at the time, and I feel this way still. I think he could be a very good player. I don't think he's that kind of player. I think the best trade that was made in the draft was what Cleveland did to get out of that pick up all these spots. And I really do feel like on some level, Jacksonville wanted a star. So I think they picked him partially because they thought he was going to be a star. And he's not. Like, people aren't talking about him all the time. So he's not Deion Sanders, right? Like, and now, like, if he's just going to be kind of average to above average. But, and I also said this from the get-go, they got to pick a side for him. He can't play both ways. Like, maybe a series or two on one of the sides, but they got to figure it out. Let's see, AFC West. Both Kansas City and Denver had get-right games this past week. Denver caught sleepwalking Cincinnati and killed them. Denver should have a top 5 defense with the group that they have, which is why I was bullish about maybe they'll be the ones to catch Kansas City. Kansas City had a get-right game by boat racing Baltimore. And it's like, whenever you just start to lose any trust in Reed and Mahomes, you're just foolish. It's just foolish to believe that they're not going to figure it out. So I do believe in the end, one of these two will actually win the division and catch the Chargers. I just don't know which one yet. And I'm more inclined to believe that Reed and Mahomes because of the history.
Yeah, of course. I think when we talked about the divisions before the season started, I think I picked Denver mainly because I thought I like their talent. I like the way the Knicks is going. Here's the thing, too. Sean Payton knows he doesn't need to peak his team in September. He knows that they need to peak in November and December, too. This is where I think the difference is going to be with the Chargers. The Chargers always throw up on themselves as a franchise. I'm not trying to knock Harbaugh, but this is just what they always do. And so I'm kind of with you. I just don't trust the Chargers to keep this lead the entire step of the way. I do trust Sean Payton. And the Chiefs, who's going to be surprised if they actually step up and win that division? So, yeah, they both have gotten right at this point.
NFC West. I think it's the Rams to lose. I know Seattle has a good record. I know the 49ers have a good record. They're all 3-1. They'll all start playing each other soon. It's just my gut here. I don't think Seattle is going to be good enough consistently offensively to win. I don't like the way they handle the end of games. They've already blown one to the 49ers and nearly blew another to Arizona. I've seen enough of Kyler. I'm done. Like, I just don't think he's going to step up and do it for them. As much as I think this guy Gannon's turned out to be we made fun of him a lot. I just turned out to like kind of keep that ship like going the right way. Just don't think Kyler steps up to the point where he kind of needs to. And the Niners, I think, are just too beat up. You're not going to win every game 19-18. Like, it's just like you're going to lose too many of those. Like, they scream at 8-9, 9-18. That's what they scream to me. So I think it's the Rams to lose.
I think the only team that I'll kind of call it for is the Cardinals. I don't think they're going to be good enough to win that division or be consistent enough. I will push back a little bit on Seattle. Seattle won 10 games last year. Yes, they have blown a couple leads in the fourth quarter, but you can turn that around as well. I'm not ready to call it on Seattle. I think they're kind of a sneaky threat in that division. It does all boil down to the Rams, though. They are the best team in that division. I'm kind of down on the Niners, too, though. They lost a home game to the Jags. Purdy was starting that game. That's a bad loss for them as far as I'm concerned when Mac Jones kind of kept the ship afloat for a couple of weeks there. The Niners, they're starting to feel it a little bit. They are not as talented as they used to be. The core is getting old enough that they can't just show up and beat teams anymore.
NFC South. The Saints are done. I mean, but we knew that going into the season. Carolina is a bad 1-3 with what feels like a one-off. Now, I will say this about them. Last year, on the second half of the season, they got way better than they were in the first half. It's still, at this point, with the hole they're digging, doesn't feel like it's going to be enough to catch both these. This is a two-team race. Can Atlanta have enough offensive consistency? And secondarily, they mismanage games a lot, especially at the end of halves. We've seen this a couple times with them playing them. I trust Tampa Bay more. The firepower that Atlanta has should be enough to keep up with a team like Tampa. And because Tampa has so many injuries here early, they may take some dings along the way because they're just down on manpower. If they were to get healthy, like get the majority of their offensive line back and get their receivers back, then I do think Tampa ends up winning this because I trust them a lot more. But Atlanta could have and should have a top 10 to top 5 offense. Just can they do it consistently? If they can do it consistently, we have a race. If they can't, they're going to muddle along and be 9-8 and not win the division.
No, I mean, this is a mixture of two teams that when they play each other, the Buccaneers are going to have a last-second comeback win because the Bucs can actually run a 2-minute offense. And same thing, we didn't really talk about this because the Commanders lost. Raheem Morris is really bad at the end of quarter, end of game scenarios. Yes. I mean,
he's a lot of mismanagement. Yes.
He's legitimately bad at that. You know how this works in this league. That is the literal difference between winning a division and not winning a division. I just once again, I trust the Bucs more than I trust the Falcons here. The Falcons might have that really good offense, but Morris, I just don't trust to, manage the end of those games well.
Yeah, I think Baker's a killer too. And I think Baker is so locked in competitive. I have a feeling like Penix needs a little more seasoning to kind of get to that big game moment, but we'll see. Yeah. You never know. NFC North, Detroit's fine. I didn't know. Who knew? They had a really bad summer. They lost both coordinators. And now they're scoring at the clip that we're accustomed to seeing them scoring. They are healthier on defense, so they're better on that side of the ball. Minnesota is not. While at 2-2, McCarthy has not looked good in his starts. They're not going to win a lot with Wentz. Give me a break. Like, that's not going to happen. Aaron Jones already hurt. Defensively, I appreciate what they do. I think there's too much firepower in their division to be the worst scoring team in the division, which is probably what will end up happening. The Bears, I don't trust to leapfrog all of them because I just think there will be ups and downs. I think emotionally, the way they handle themselves, I don't see it. But like, this could be the baseline for they're ready to take off. I would buy that. But this is the baseline for they're ready to take off next year. And Green Bay, the last couple of weeks have been very surprising off of their first couple of weeks. So I think it's Detroit's to lose at the quarter pole again. I'm a little surprised I'm saying that, but I believe that now.
No, I think Dan Campbell should be considered for coach of the year right now. Loses both coordinators, had a bad first week, and then they boat raced everybody. Like a really good win against Baltimore, in Baltimore against the Ravens. They bounced back that second week with another blowout victory. They blew out the Browns this weekend. Like, it hasn't been close.
They scored 50 on the Bears. Like,
right. So, like, it hasn't been close, from after that week 1 loss. And like I said, they lose both coordinators, and they're figuring it out essentially. On the Bears front, I will say this though. Remember last year, like, yes, they came in with the winning record before the Commanders literally broke the franchise. I will say this, that Ben Johnson has them playing pretty well and kind of buttoned up too. If they had that last year, we're looking at, I think, a much better record. But I
don't know what we would be saying about them today had that field goal not been blocked and they lost to the Raiders.
I agree. But at the same time, like, they're getting it done any way they can. Those are the plays that the Bears usually don't ever get. So I will say, I think the Bears' potential here is a lot higher, but it is Detroit's to lose at this point. I think the Packers have plenty of time to turn around. I'm just shocked at how it's kind of spiraled for them a little bit.
And then the NFC East, I mean, I just think it's fair to say this at this point. Philly's in competition with themselves. Like, They're 4-0. They've beaten really good teams. A couple of them on the road, Kansas City and Tampa. They beat the Rams at home, had a big comeback. And the only thing that seems, short of injuries, obviously, because that could hurt anybody, is if they can just, like, stay friends and not act crazy, they're just going to be tough to catch. So they're in that's how I see it. They're just in competition with themselves to kind of stay the course and get through the season because, frankly, they're just better than just about everybody else.
No, exactly right. I'm not surprised here. I've been waiting for them to, have the armor crack, and it hasn't happened with them. And that's a testament to Sirianni having them, get it done. But here we are, 4-0, and AJ Brown's tweeting things because he's not happy too. This is just like par for the course for them.
Yeah, it's their elementary school kids. They have a food fight and they pull each other's pants down, but then they go out and tug a war and they win. Like, I don't even know, they're just childish. But they win. It's hard to argue with it. All right, let me take a quick break. Bram, watch the show. ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Commanders fans, this is for you. Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA like 24/7 roadside assistance, plus 15% off Commanders gear at the online pro shop, chances to win game tickets, access to exclusive MVP events, and unforgettable experiences. Already a AAA member? Add the Commanders MVP upgrade for free. Head to AAA.com/Commanders to join the squad and put your fandom in drive. All right, welcome back. I am a YouTube TV subscriber. And as of today, I will not be able to watch the Caps, Wizards, Mystics, and all the other products that Monumental puts on TV because they've had a carriage dispute. And I read a very long letter from their GM, Friday Abernathy, who explained that they went to YouTube TV and couldn't get a deal done, and that YouTube TV doesn't care about DC sports fans and all that stuff, and then offered me $20 off, which I think of a still, frankly, sorry to say this to you guys, expensive subscription, which for me personally is a red line because I pay for all these different things. I am not going to pay for literally everything. It breaks my heart because I love, me, I love watching the Caps. And so I'm going to assume that this will get fixed because these things typically always get fixed. But this is a massive, massive disappointment for me that this is happening. I'm not going to pretend that I know why or that I know anything about these negotiations, but I've already grown over the last couple of years accustomed to not having Masson because I'm on YouTube TV, which means I do not regularly watch the Orioles and Nationals anymore, which to me is a crime. As someone who would, it's a crime that I can't share that with my kids. I have to pay for that too if I really want it. And in this case, if I was using Chuck's platform, I would get okay, so you're not on that. That's kind of on me. I'm sorry. This is one of the biggest carriers on earth now. Get it done. All right. I don't care. Get it done. I want to watch the hockey, and I'm not giving you, Ted, $200. It's not happening.
Yeah, it's kind of insulting that they offer that $20 discount because also if you just do a monthly subscription, it's $20. If you start your subscription right now and go to April, that's 7 months. Do the math. 7 times 20 is $140. It's still more expensive to do the annual subscription if you only want to watch the Wizards and the Capitals. If you want to watch the Mystics, I'm here with it, but the WNBA actually has plenty of primetime games. You can actually kind of get through the WNBA season if you want to, but Still, I'm with you. This platform is too expensive, and the content that they put around these two teams is not worth subscribing for. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not like it's a 24-hour thing where there's all these really good shows and content that you should be paying for. I don't know how you get this done. The other part of this is that they could make it an add-on, but for whatever reason, they're at a disagreement on that as well. It's almost like Monumental is basically saying all or nothing, which I think is patently ridiculous. The fact that some teams think that, they are worth paying for is kind of crazy. And the fact that they think that the Wizards and the Capitals are worth this $20 a month subscription, I think they're in for a rude awakening at the end of the day. There's some diehards that are going to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're in for a rude awakening for what the popularity is about to be.
I don't think this could happen for probably 4, 5, 7, or 9. But like, if I were DC News Now, I would approach them.
Yep.
And go, we'll be your carriage partner locally.
Yep.
We'll carry Caps games, Wizards games.
Well,
I think the other locals should seriously think about it. There's other places have done this where there's been problems and then they end up carrying it locally on the traditional over-the-air entities. I think in this case, if nothing, I believe it'll get done because these things always get done. But if it doesn't, that's what I would do here because, like, listen, I am out of the daily storyline of the Orioles and Nationals because they're not on my television anymore. And I do not want that to happen with the Caps and the Wizards, and specifically the Caps as a huge Caps fan. Like, I like watching them every night. I am not going to pay $20 every time I want to watch them. So, like, figure it out, guys, even if it means finding a new local partner to air the games.
I mean, here's the thing, though. The YouTube and Hulu didn't play ball with MSG. So if MSG is having trouble doing this, what made you think that you were going to get this done at the last second too?
True.
Like they didn't start hitting the full court press until Friday, and the month ended yesterday. They thought they could get this done in 4 days. You know how this works. Like, I didn't think that was going to work out either. And when MSG isn't going to get done, you're way more less than MSG. Like, MSG's in the biggest market in the world. So I'm kind of with you. I don't know how they figured this out, but I do think the solution eventually is what you just mentioned. Over the air, guys. Like, Trust me, it is such an investment. Go ask Phoenix how that worked out with the Suns and how it's working out with the Mercury. I'm telling you, it's such a good investment for your fan base is that you get to watch them for free. The kids watch them. They'll eventually be super fans. I'm telling you, this is the way to go. This is how the NFL got big.
And if out of market people are still going to have to get Monumental because they can never get it any other way. So they'll always have to subscribe. Like if I lived in Denver, I would subscribe to Monumental because I want to watch the Caps all the time. And like, there's no other answer. In this case, locally, get a local carriage deal with one of these groups. You get it done. Don't do this. Don't do this. Like, I've turned my kids into Caps fans, Ted. Okay. We went to a playoff game. Like, we love the team. Don't do it so they're not accessible to us. Because if they're not, then you lose the story. You don't know anything about the team, and no one's going to play catch up. And then it goes out the window. So you got to fix this.
And think about this, too. This could be Alex Ovechkin's last season. Think about what percentage of your fans won't be able to watch games if you don't figure something out with this, too. That's just really a shame and a downer on the last year of the greatest player in franchise history as well.
100%.
If it's that way. Yeah,
100%. Like, come on. Like this, of all years, you don't want to lose like a huge percentage of the fan base is the last year that the greatest player we're ever going to have plays here. Come on. Just get this done. All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Brave Watch the Show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital.